All right, 7:41 on this Tuesday morning. We put this time aside every week for the great Bo Dietl. Plenty of local stuff going on with the police department and Bill de Blasio. But Danielle says to me last night, she goes, what murder case, because Danielle spoke to Bo, helped us out with something last week with our daughter. So Danielle spoke to Bo. She said, what murder case is Bo working on? So you may remember a couple of weeks ago, they actually took a pilot off the plane. He was about to fly a plane somewhere. They took him off a plane and ended up arresting this guy for a triple homicide committed, I want to say like Kentucky, one of those states where they found some bodies, and it turned out he was the guy that did it. This is the case that you're working on, Bo? This is your case?
Well, here's the story. First of all, I'm going to give all the credit in the world for all the guys, Mike Ceravola, Mike Ruggiero, guys that really are great detectives. In reality was this. The family came to us. The case was about 3 years open in Kentucky.
The family where the people were murdered?
The people who were murdered,
right.
The son and the sister, they came to us, and they said that this thing's 3 years old. It was a federal witness, the father, that was gunned down. His wife and the next-door neighbor that came to help, and then they put him in a car, and they burnt him. Look, this wasn't rocket science. We knew who the suspect was. The suspect was a military guy who was court-martialed having top-secret papers, assaulting his wife and his son. So he was court-martialed and convicted. I mean, it didn't take rocket science to know who the suspect. He lived across the street.
Right.
But the cops there, for some reason, were like, they didn't know, do. Make a long story short, we then found a crucial, and I don't want to go into a crucial piece of evidence that we found when we investigated. Upon that evidence hitting, he was indicted and arrested for the triple murder of the family and the guy next door. And a great job by Mike Ruggiero and Mike Ceravola. And we went down there to Kentucky and just said, look, these cases. First of all, when you get fresh eyes on them and you have all those years of experience, you can't go to detective school and learn how to be a detective. I mean, this stuff is all from experience. And when you look at it and you just check and you see that all the important, pertinent things were done, some of these things were not done. And I'm very happy for the family. And this creep will never see the outside. Right. It should have been a federal case, first of all. He was a federal witness.
He was. How did he get a job with American Airlines?
That's the other thing is American Airlines, who's doing your background? I think you better bring in another company because how do you get a guy who's been court-martialed and convicted, abuse, also with top-secret papers, and then he's flying a jet with people.
Right. It's crazy. I can't imagine.
Almost as bad as New York City.
Almost.
Did you see this de Blasio out there in Nevada with the mountains with his wife? I mean, you talk about you want to throw up. I wanted to throw up. And now people don't realize what he's coming about, what he's saying. The worst criminals in the city are the adolescents, 17, 18, 19 years old. These are the little punks that are robbing people, beating them up, raping, robbing. Now all of a sudden this big stiff comes up with an idea. Hey, I got an idea. If you commit an armed robbery, beat someone into the ground with a gun or a knife, there's not going to be any bail. No ROR, release on own recognizance.
Right.
That's going to be gone, too. Remember that movie? What was that movie when the gangs took over New York City? What was it back in the 70s?
The gangs of, no. You're talking about Warriors?
Warriors.
Yes.
This is what's happening. People don't understand what is going on. It's the underbelly of the criminal element is out there. And the poor cops are out there, and they're not getting involved because every time they get involved, they get in trouble. And now all of a sudden, de Blasio's new thing is armed robbery with the victim being injured out the door.
Yeah, armed robbery, assault, and burglary. He's expanding it to that, and the age from 17 to 19 years old.
But that's the worst one.
I know. The kids are the worst. They're the most vicious criminals.
Right.
I
mean, this. But you know what? Would be apropos. Apropos would be as follows. You know what I mean? Here's what it would be great.
Bobonics.
If the mayor, when he retires, if he gets stuck, well, he won't be near Gracie Mansion. He'll be in Brooklyn, where him and his lovely wife are walking down the street, and a gang preys upon him and takes out Big Bird, beats him into the ground, and robs him and everything. And then all of a sudden, these little adolescents run away. And say he doesn't get it, this punk, because he rides around with an SUV with all guards around him. He's not like the regular people in New York City that have to go on the subways, that have to deal with these punks on the street. And now it's like Finzi, let's become robbers. Sid.
I agree. You get
Sid,
away
let's
with
go
it.
rob somebody,
Why not?
and beat them up, and we get away.
Well,
Bernie.
you say that, and I thought about you this morning because I read the New York Post and the New York Daily News. I know that you may not like the politics, but I read it. So page 5 in the New York Daily News, a guy named Thomas Tracy wrote this. Big picture of your boy, Commissioner Jimmy O'Neill. And it says, NYPD logic twisted on punishing rogue cops. Pro finds wrist slaps for mistreating citizens, but they hammer the cops for violating the finest rules. Is there any truth to this, any credibility to this, any...
Well, all I know is one thing. I do not condone any corruption in any way.
Right.
But when a cop is taking police action, I mean, that all of a sudden you're impairing upon their rights. I just read about a guy with a gun. Now he searched him. That guy he searched and found a gun on probably is going to sue the cop for illegal search. Because under the stop and frisk law, he shouldn't have stopped him. And he only stopped him because he was black or Hispanic. Stop the bull crap, all right, already? This is becoming a real cesspool in New York City. And this de Blasio is leaving it as a cesspool. Then you got this other school teacher guy, the head of school teacher.
Carranza.
I mean,
The
look,
racist.
you got teachers that are out there that have given their whole lives to try to get these kids. Do you know when you have a mentally ill child in the class of 34th, you can't remove him from the class. He could spit at you, slap you, whatever he wants to do, you can't remove him from the class. These are issues that have to... What about the other 33 kids that want to learn? I mean, there's so many issues. Then all of a sudden they said that because I'm white, I think I'm white, I'm Italian, I got 2% African-American, I got everything in me. But because you're white, you're a racist. And because you're white, you shouldn't have the same opportunity as a black or Hispanic student. That's bullcrap. I mean, what are we supposed to do? To take our skin and jump into a vat of black paint? And then all of a sudden that's going to be the okay?
No, it is sickening. It's, the inmates are running the asylum here is what's happening.
You pick up the paper, Bernie, and I've never seen it as bad. And then you got the moron there. You got the head of the city council. It's just how much they could do to the people that are hardworking every day, taking the subways, going to work every day from 9 to 5, trying to keep their family, trying to stay in New York City with these crazy taxes that we all pay. You know, I hate to be a bailer outer, but that's the first time it's sprinkling in my head is, Bo, are you really going to stay in this trash?
Right.
I mean, I know what the underbelly is, and the cops know what the underbelly is, but the only ones that don't know are the ones like this mayor, the preaching arrow, safe city, safe city. Well, let him go, let him ride around without that SUV. They'll take that big bird. First of all, he'll go down like a sack of nickels. He's a big bird. He's got no body muscle to him. He walks on a treadmill. He's like, which way did he go? Big bird. That's right. And Trump called you Big Bird now. Donald Trump, president, you couldn't shine Donald Trump's ball Big Bird. You're a punk.
Hey, listen, the state Senate also, starting January 1st, this no bail thing is going to apply to even white collar crimes. It's going to be statewide, everywhere. It's going to be codified into law.
Well,
not just these individual judges and DAs.
He's trying to eliminate jails. So, in other words, they don't want any criminals to be incarcerated because then he could say, well, look at the jail population went from 12,000 down to 200. Right. And the only ones they're going to keep in there probably are the guys that killed 10 people. I mean, I couldn't even keep the guy that killed 10 people, the Palm Sunday Massacre. This guy's out. He's probably running for city council right now.
And meanwhile, the people who are related to these guys, they would rather see them stay in jail pending trial. They would rather see that. They're afraid of them.
Imagine if you become the victim. God forbid. Yeah. God forbid. I know how much you love your wife. God forbid if someone beat your wife up and robbed her, and then all of a sudden he's now calling your house, threatening you. If you testify against, that's what's going to happen next. Tampering with witness. What do you do then?
Right.
You just let him out again? I mean, this is so ridiculous. We need a mayor. We need people in this city to take charge of this city again. This is an insane asylum, New York City. You go on Fifth Avenue, start to see the tents going up there into the 80s by the park.
Yep.
This is going to become like San Francisco, toilet bowl of the world. And look, I love this city so much, but it's you don't know when it's going to stop. It ain't getting any better, and the people in New York City have to draw the line. Even the good African American, Hispanic people, family people know what's out there, and they want these creeps in jail because they got to live with it every day in their community.
No doubt. So listen, tell us this, Bo. Your podcast is doing very, very, very well. One Tough Podcast. Who do you got on this week?
Well, we had John Stossel, and then we're going to bring the Avery. Sean Avery's coming on.
Oh, from the former Rangers?
Yeah.
Oh, he's a great interview.
We got a big surprise coming up real fast before the break. I'm going to have Linda Fairstein is coming on my podcast to tell the truth. And it ain't fake news. It's the facts about the Central Park Five. They're making TV series about these punks that were wild and they robbed 5 people there. They opened the guy's head up, and now they gave him $10 million each. And they're rewarded. And now they got a feature movie. Oh, and they show a little kid about 12 years old. I didn't do anything wrong except bust the guy's head open, beat people up.
Ken Burns is a liberal.
Well, let me tell you, we're going to have Linda Fairstein on my podcast. I want to play it up. She will give it the facts. We only want the truth. We don't want garbage. God bless you all.
Thank you, Bo. Great to see you. We love you, the great Bo Dietl.